Assalamu alaikum guys, I hope you all are fine. Today I have brought to you a story. It is called The Golden Touch, and it's a myth actually, not a story. And I'm also going to tell you some information about myths. And yeah, let's start. What is a myth? People have asked many questions about the world for thousands of years. For example, why does the sun rise in the morning? Or why does the weather get cooler in winter? Nowadays, science can tell us many answers. But in ancient times, people made up stories to explain the mysteries of the world. We call these stories myths. Myths are so old that we don't know who made them up. Some of the most famous myths were told in Greece and Egypt more than 2,000 years ago. Greek and Egyptian myths tell tales of ancient mythological creatures that have never existed. For example, the Greeks believed that there were satyrs, men with hairy legs, horses' tails, and horses' ears. The Egyptians believed that there was a creature with a jackal's head called Anubis. In this unit, you are going to read a myth about a king and a satyr. It explains why people found gold in one river in Greece. King Midas and the Golden Touch. A long time ago in ancient Greece, there lived a king called Midas. He was kind man, but he had one fault. He loved gold more than anything else. One day, Dionysus led a procession through the countryside near Midas's mansion. Now, Dionysus loved music and fun. As he traveled, he listened to the musicians, trumpets, and drums. He enjoyed his magician's tricks too. Also in the procession was his beloved old teacher, a satyr called Silenus. Unfortunately, Silenus got lost and strayed into King Midas's garden. He was so tired that he went to sleep. The next morning, King Midas's chief guard found him snoring under a bush. "How dare you sleep in the king's rose garden?" shouted the guard. "You have no business to be here. Have you gained admission for the gatekeeper?" The old man could not answer, so the guard tied him up with a rope and brought him before the king. "Your Highness," he said, quivering with anger, "this old satyr was sleeping in your garden without permission. Shall we throw him into prison?" King Midas's heart was touched by the confused old satyr, and he felt sorry for Silenus. "Certainly not," he said. "Take off the ropes and give the poor satyr some food and drink." King Midas looked after Silenus like a father. 10 days later, he took the satyr to Dionysus, who was overjoyed to see his old teacher. "Thank you," Dionysus said, hugging Silenus with heartfelt relief. "You have looked after my old friend so kindly that I will grant you one, but only one wish." King Midas thought for just a second. "I have loved gold since I was a child," he said to himself. "Now I can have as much as I want." He turned to Dionysus and said, "I wish everything that I touch would turn into gold." Dionysus smiled. "Very well," he replied. "Your wish is granted." With that, Dionysus disappeared like smoke into the air. Midas walked home through his lovely garden. He couldn't wait to try out his new golden touch. He stretched up his hands towards a leaf on a tree. It turned from green to gold, as if fire was creeping from one end to the other. "The leaf has turned to gold," he whispered. Soon the tree's leaves no longer rustled in the wind. They tinkled like little bells. Midas was so excited that he turned all the other trees' leaves to gold too. Then he turned to a rose bush. The rose's soft petals turned from red to hard gold as if he was using a magic paintbrush. Midas was amazed. I have never seen golden roses before, he said to himself. King Midas ran into his mansion, flinging open the doors, which of course turned at once to a magnificent gold. He called his servants. "Prepare a feast to celebrate my new riches," he commanded. So the servants brought a delicious meal of bread, meat, and honey cakes. He picked up some soft white bread, but when he took a bite, it was hard, tasteless gold. In a panic, he picked up the meat, but that too turned into gold as soon as he touched it. The honey cake was the same. "What have I done?" he cried in despair. Just then, his lively little daughter ran into the room. Now Midas loved his daughter more than anyone in the world, and he cried out, "Stop! Don't come near me!" But she ran and threw her arms around her father's neck. As soon as she touched King Midas's daughter became still and hard, as if she was a statue. He collapsed, completely heartbroken, into his golden throne and wept with loneliness. "Dionysus," he cried, "please help me. I've made a terrible mistake. I'll give you all the gold I possess if you only bring back my daughter." Suddenly, Dionysus appeared in front of him. "I will help you," he replied, "but you must learn from this experience. Gold never brings happiness. Go and wash yourself in the river Pactolus, where it gushes out of the rock." Midas was so anxious to lose the golden touch that he ran all the way to the river and washed all the gold out of his clothes and skin. When he arrived home, the garden was green and his dear daughter was running towards him, more precious than all the gold in the world. And that, they believed in ancient Greece, is why there was gold at the bottom of the river Pactolus. Okay guys, so that is the end of the story. I hope you liked the story as well as the video. If you did, smash the like button and please subscribe to support me. I really appreciate your support, and please share it with your family, friends, and many more. And I'll see you in the next video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.